Alright, so I'm going to do a tutorial on how to create a custom skater model for Skater XL. I have a couple links linked below of sites to use for free to create a free model of yourself. The first site will come as an A pose, the second site will come as a T pose, or one of the two. Basically, from where we're going to start is if you use the site and it exports with these weird isospheres and pops up with this when you're importing it, you just delete these two and its armature. And you'd have the model itself. Basically from here, just resize it to about the size of the armature so you have a baseline to work with. Then enter edit mode and transparency mode. I like to hide the armature as well. Then I'll go through and select everything I don't want showing for this head model. So in this case, it should look about this. I just like to select it until I get about that. Then I'll turn on my game body, make sure it's about fitting with that and lining up. And if it's not, I'll right click the head that I'm trying to turn into a mesh, set the origin to the geometry, and kind of line it up the best I can. And then from here I like to enter sculpt mode and fix anything that's popping out or clipping. I use the grab tool mainly because it's easier to manipulate these small little parts just to hide. That way I can just easily click and drag these into his body, like such. As you can see, slowly just disappears. And you can see the neckline's pretty decent as well. So now the next time you turn off your game body, you should see it all cinched up. I like to also import a few base meshes to check my clipping with. The ones I like to import are the rib toque, the NH hat, the best undershirt, and a Yeezy hood, as well as a just hair base cap. So as you can see, the clipping on this shirt is very minimal. So that means it is very likely to not clip with a lot of other things. Everything I've tested with clipping with this has made it so it doesn't really clip with much else. But yeah, other than that, I like to turn on hats, make sure clipping is just very minimal. And if there is, I like to stay in my grab tool in sculpt mode and just push the head. Just different portions of it that are clipping through back into itself. That way it fixes that. And then same thing with hoodies. If it's like clipping on a chin part, or if it's clipping on parts of your face like such, over on this side you can click and drag to shape it so it's not. Same thing with hair. I always like to equip a base cap because if you do the base caps, it's a lot easier to manipulate. So I can just you get the gist of it though. Just drag your head into your base cap model. And if there is any clipping on like the eyes or anything, you can fix that too. Might look a little funky, but it could always be fixed. You just get it comfortable with however you want it looking. So in my case, I've already done it. And it looked about this. Your next thing you're going to do is hide all the meshes that you imported except for your body. I like to drag them into the miscellaneous. That way it's just easier to hide them. And then with your newly imported head, it comes with a preset armature and vertex groups. With these, go through and press the minus sign on all of them. Then go over to modifiers with this little wrench and press the X here. And then it's fully unrigged. Next thing you're going to want to do is enter weight mode. I like to, for the heads, draw my own weights, only because I feel like the movement comes out cleaner. But for here, you're only going to need 3 vertex groups. So if you turn on your game body again, and click your game body, and go over to vertex groups, the 3 vertex groups you're going to need are spine 2, neck, and head. What I like to do is, while in weight mode, I'll hide the body while this is selected. Go into weight mode, and I like to just kind of draw out where that weight would be. So in that case, about this. Then I'll create a new and start the neck one. For the neck, I like to go right to the bottom of the chin, because it brings it up to the back of the head like this. And while you're doing that, bring your weight back down to 0 over here. And just kind of clean it up. And while on the 0 weight as well, bring this up so it just covers about this neckline. You can easily manipulate and change or redraw whatever you need to using the different tools, the draw and the gradient. But after you have your neck one as well, the final one is the head, so you turn your weight back up to 1. From here, start at the top of the head and go down. I like to go to the bottom of the chin, and then I'll fill in the rest. Just like this. So it's head, neck, and spine. Now, I will turn back on my game body and copy and paste these names in that order, in the corresponding order to which you made these. So in my case, I just followed the order that they were in. So when I enter weight mode, again, with my head selected, skater head, skater neck, and spine 2 are now the weighed things. The next thing, you go to the wrench and add a modifier, and under the deform tab, you press armature, and then object, armature 2022, and make sure your weight's popped up. From here you are done, so basically all you have to do is hide your game body again, enter object mode, press Ctrl A, do all transforms, so everything on this menu resets to 0. Turn on your armature, left click your head, shift left click the armature, Ctrl A again, and all transforms, and then export it as an FBX. I do this only because it'll allow it just to line up in game and everything's just clean and easy to work with. But that's the basics of creating a head. Now over to Unity.